It's just setting up. I mean, it's going.
Slowly but surely.
Okay, here we go. And I am. Okay. Okay.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Good morning, everyone. I call the April Guam Board of Accountancy meeting to order. Before we begin, just want to confirm, Dave, that the meeting has been properly noticed.
So, 2 notices.
2 notices, March 21 and March 21.
April 11 and April
11,
16.
April 16. Okay, good. So meeting's properly noticed. We can officially move forward with the meeting.
Okay.
So present are board members, Jenny Chu, Francis Baba, Taling Taitano, Sean, and myself, and Dave Sanford, Executive Director. Sorry, Sean Phillips and Dave Sanford. So we do have full attendance. So the first item on the agenda would be the approval of the minutes of last month's meeting, which was also virtual. I think we have the minutes in, I guess, in the file that was sent.
Right.
Can I hear?
Move to
approve?
approve subject to correction.
Okay, can I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Francis. Thank you, Francis. So the minutes to last month's meeting is approved. Next item, Dave, will go to old business. I think if that's what you want to do, the
Okay.
accountancy endowment.
Go to the Guam Accountancy Endowment Fund update. As of March 31st, according to this, and actually March 28th was the date, we had a value a little bit over $5 million in the fund. And then, of course, the inflation report came out, and the Fed said we're not going to lower rates, and everything went down by $182,000.
Wow! In 30 days, we lost 182,000.
And actually, in 16 days.
16 days. You're right. 16 days. I see that.
So, but it, it's going to go up and down like it always does. I mean, the Dow's been down 2,000 points in the last three weeks or 4 weeks. When they said they're not going to lower rates, then everything came down.
Yeah.
Everybody was going up there. It was up to 39. It actually crushed 39,000 into 40. Came back down to 37 something, 37.9. Now it's like 38. So it is what it is. So we have a evaluation as of April 16th of 4.881 million. So,
Okay.
but in terms of actual results, as of the end of March statement, we had a year-to-date earnings of 5.16% for the quarter, and annualized that's a 6.52% overall for the year. So that's meeting our target for
6%.
growth. So, yeah. So I think we're okay there, and we didn't pay any fees or anything this month. So in that sense, the fund is fine. Whole thing is here. Anybody wants to review it?
Dave, sorry, that was since 2015. So that's the date we first opened the fund.
Right. We made the first contribution. I think the law was passed in late 2014.
14.
And then
Okay.
we got everything organized and made the first contribution in 2015.
Okay. So
Early 2015. So it was FY 2015.
okay. So we've been doing this for at least 9 years now, going on.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I think if we can get a value in excess of 5 million, we should be able to earn at least enough to pay for the annual expenses for the program.
It'd be good to see, because what you're showing us is cumulative year to date. I mean, do you have maybe a
Yeah.
5-year performance also?
I'll have to see if I can get that out of the Raymond James history of the reporting on this thing is not very extensive. So
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious how we were doing,
Yeah.
let's say, on a 5-year basis performance.
yeah, I'll see what I can do. But I've tried to get a few things out of this. I think it's more designed to just monitor your investments than it is to do anything else. But I'll see if I
Okay.
can find out how, or at least export enough data to do it. So, okay.
Okay.
Otherwise, I think the visiting professor program is going okay according to the results we have for the free CPE. I think they have over 90 people signed up for it now. So we'll
Yes.
see.
So
Nobody has to share chairs, but
I'm curious. One of the reasons why I'm curious to see the attendance is because I like to see how many actual CPAs are attending. I mean, ultimately our goal is to provide CPEs to at
I'm
least
not sure.
CPAs. So
I'm not sure how many CPAs are attending, but there's an awful lot of people that I think aren't CPAs, but a lot of the government people and some of the other ones, some of the private industry people who probably are not CPAs. I know a good number of them are. And then I don't know how many CPAs the public auditor's office has, but he's bringing 14 people.
from what I heard, they only have one. I think one.
I'm not sure, but he's bringing the whole office. So.
I mean, it's good. It's good to attend, but I was just curious in terms of penetration, exactly how much support are we providing to the CPAs? It could also be a very busy time of the year. I think there would have been more, at least from my office.
Yeah, I think from what I've seen in the last, at least this week, we've gotten a number of requests this week from local CPAs that probably were busy last week or so. And finally got around to it, only to find out that there's no seats left. So
Dave, is it too late to sign up?
It is.
You'd have to ask Jessica if she has a seat.
I'll stand up.
Yeah, I mean, you can always show up, Francis, and stand in the back. I don't think they would turn you away.
All right.
Oh, they shouldn't turn away board members that show up.
They would only turn you away if the fire code says you can't stand in there. So.
Yeah.
So when I took a look at the sign up sheet, back on April 19th, we had about 77 folks.
Okay.
And about 39 of those identified as being with the government.
Yeah.
There were 16 people from E&Y
Wow. Okay.
that signed up, and there's a variety of folks from various
Local companies.
private companies, Calvo's, Hawaiian Rock, Pacific Mission, PHR, PIC.
I'm not sure.
Practice.
We had, some people signed up. Most people wanted to go both days, but some only wanted to go once. Okay. Not real sure how many you have for each day. You may have more on one day than you have on the other.
Yeah, at the when we got it back, I don't know when she gave it to me. Sorry, when she gave it, Jessica, when you gave me the sign up sheet, there was only one less person going to the April 26th versus the April 19th.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So it might have changed, with since that time, because I guess there was an additional almost just under 20 people.
Yeah. If we can't, come up with a bigger room at UOG, for this one, then ultimately we could look at doing the thing virtually. If we did it virtually via Zoom, I think UOG has the facility to do that. And then we wouldn't have to limit it.
Right.
I mean, we could do that. I'm not sure how effective that is, but we could do that.
So UOG did waive the room fee for this for the 2 sessions. I don't know if we did it
Yeah.
via Zoom, if they would require that we pay some kind of fee.
In the past,
Yeah.
when we did CPE with Zoom, we had to pay a fee per day, but I don't know if as part of this program they would charge us or not. Maybe a few $100s.
Mhm. Well, it's worth asking. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess we can see how it goes tomorrow.
Yeah, or if there's a bigger room available ultimately.
Yeah, I was thinking if they put it in the lecture hall, I mean, they could probably, get a
Yeah.
couple hundred people.
Yeah, that would probably help. Maybe
Okay.
something we can explore with Dean,
Okay.
Dr. Jones.
I did ask her this morning if she would consider putting it in a bigger room, but
Yeah, I think, well, part of
Hey.
that's turning it on and turning on the air, unless they're using it all the time anyway.
Right.
Which I don't know if they are or not. So.
Okay.
But obviously, Dr. Conran has his work cut out for him, so hopefully he'll do a pretty good presentation. Everybody be happy campers tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it gets too large, yeah, we should start considering virtual. I mean, when it gets that large, I don't know how effective, how many people will be asking questions. Or it's just going to be a straight lecture. So
Yeah, just hard to tell.
or we can ask him to do it twice.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what he says about that. He's already committed to another half day now and then a whole nother day in the fall. So,
Yeah. Okay.
I guess we'll just play it by ear and see how it goes.
Well, it looks good. Talling, are you going tomorrow? And
Yeah, I am.
Okay, good. I think you might be the only. Is Sean, are you going to?
Yeah, I signed
Okay.
up. Yep.
Good. Sorry, I'm not
Both days.
able to make it. But
Yeah, I did too.
you did too, Jane?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I wish I could, but if I was there, I would. But it'd be interesting to see, how his presentation goes. And give us a little insight into his methods.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it is. I mean, I talked to a lot of people regarding the Johnsons and Dr. Johnson, Ray Johnson, and all very favorable feedback. I mean, feedback from my employees, from other people, from whoever had them last year. So it was very good. So hopefully that's the same or similar response.
Yeah, I would think so, but you never know. So, but
Yeah.
we'll find out for sure.
Yeah. Sorry, Dave, just to because I thought I saw some emails regarding the summer visiting professors. Is there any traction?
Yeah, I was going to say I queried CAD at the endowment fund about the stipend for Billy.
Okay.
Can't remember his last name. He's going to teach again for part of the summer session.
Okay.
I think what he's teaching is one of the MAC courses.
Okay.
Systems analytics or something like that. So, I was curious about what the total expense would be, and the only thing is it's strictly just the stipend. I think it's $5,000 for the whole summer.
Okay.
Because
So
because it's all virtual, so he's actually
it's virtual. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's part of the MAC program. The MAC program is a virtual presentation, so he's doing the whole thing virtually. So from Mississippi on it, on Guam time. So
I thought he was here recently. I thought I saw something.
he was here a few months back, or maybe longer. I'm not sure when. I know he came out. He comes as part of the USDA thing, right, Tony?
Okay.
Something like that. Through those programs.
Mhm.
So I think the last time he was here, he did the thing for us, but we didn't actually pay for him to come. So
Okay.
but this time he's doing the MAC course, but he's doing it virtually.
So Dave, are we being asked to provide a stipend to pay for a stipend, or is that
Right, we just pay a
Okay.
stipend for
okay? That's fine. That's
Okay.
5,000 about.
Right, yeah. So it's the same as he's been getting for the summer classes when he comes to teach, I guess.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, so unless there's any other questions, we can move on to the licensees.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
Yeah, we got a bunch of them. There's 74 of them.
Wow, 74.
None from Guam, but they're from everywhere else. India, Lebanon, France, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Illinois.
I noticed a couple of them were reinstatements. When that happens, do they have to, does their CPE have to be up to date?
Yes, ma'am. You can only reinstate by completing showing us you've completed the 120 hours in the last 3 years. So they have to have completed their CPE and they have to reapply for the reinstatement.
Okay.
And tell us what they've been doing and what they're going to do. So most of them wind up asking, and then we tell them you need it, and then they go do the CPE and then apply for the reinstatement. So it's all pretty current. We haven't had any issues with reinstatements, but it's usually the people who realize, oh my God, I've been delinquent, for some reason.
Yeah, I noticed one had a test license.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all over. India, California, Taiwan.
Right.
Japan.
And like you said,
China.
this one, the UAE is a reinstatement of a test license. He's been working for Deloitte in the Middle East. So, and some of these are the ones that just somehow didn't manage to get themselves renewed, and then they realized they needed to. They were late or whatever. So we make them apply for reinstatement if they don't do it within the year. So, but on the whole, yeah, Canada, China, Texas, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Japan, of course. More and more from India. Yeah, Taiwan, New York. Just even one from Guyana. So, we've picked up a number of licensees this year coming from New Hampshire, because New Hampshire instituted a Social Security number requirement.
Yeah.
So a lot of the new licensees we have, most of whom come from some of the bigger firms or established auditing firms around the world, had been New Hampshire licensees. But then with the SSA number requirement, they couldn't renew. So they came to us instead, just transfer their licenses. But don't have any issue with these, so we just need an approval.
Okay. Sorry. So Talling is moving in a motion to approve. Can I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Sean. Thank you. So the applications for initial certification and the LTPs are approved. Moving on to the
Okay.
next topic.
Yeah, we go to this, to the header is down at the very bottom of the page, this professional licensure task force concept exposure of the equivalent licensure model. This is the stuff we heard about at the regional meeting, John.
Yes.
All of the stuff that Stephanie talked about. But
Yeah.
basically, I'll just cover the highlights. It's the licensure task force to consider new concepts. And the committee agreed in general principles adopting the ELE, which was the earn and learn or something like that. It needs to be cost-effective, rigorous education component and scalable to firms and employers, and should apply the development of a structured professional program, so to speak. It's essentially designed to provide an equivalent path to licensure without the need of having to complete a 5th year of education to get the 150 hours that would appear on an accredited transcript. It's essentially considered equivalent to the current 150-hour pathway, and they want to define this thing and put it in the UAA as an alternative.
Yeah. That's going to be interesting, Dale. I'm just curious. More of a structured, so it's like you don't need 150, you can use 120, but you have
So
to be enrolled in this program.
Right. So supposedly through the ELE is through your employer.
Yeah.
So the employer kind of subsidizes the cost of the courses. You're taking the courses, and they will appear on a transcript from some school. So you wind up with 150 hours ultimately, but it's basically conducted through your employer, who's supposed to give you work time to do it. So,
Yeah.
which is the cost trade-off thing.
Well, not every firm or company, I guess, can or would want to do that, right?
Right. They said that, from what I've been reading, they said that they had like a couple hundred firms that were interested in the program. And I think there's 2 or 3 that have kicked off a pilot process. But there's a whole lot of questions. And, I attended the AICPA regional council meeting. We talked about this. And there's a lot of issues surrounding, what it consists of, et cetera. So, but this concept here that Naz was putting forth is kind of and somewhat competing with the AICPA's program, which was the earn and learn thing, where you're working and doing the education thing at the same time through your employer. So the whole thing leaves a lot of open-ended questions about, how rigorous, who's determining how rigorous it is, who's doing the evaluations, all those kind of things.
Yes.
That we don't worry about when you sign up and go to a school or university somewhere and they ultimately attend class and you get credit on a transcript. We don't worry about all of that because supposedly the school has been vetted, for accreditation, et cetera. Now, if you look at it through the employers, that's a whole nother window and it's a whole nother set of issues to go with that. Vis-a-vis some of the complaints they've had just about how the employers conduct their CPE and the veracity of the CPE grades in the last couple of years. So,
I mean, I've attended also some calls too as well, even at the EY side as well. But so I think the basic question or concern is that there's looks like there's a shift, not a shift, but a desire by some states to move back to the 120 versus the 150. And I think there are already some states that are proposing legislation to do that. There's some concern there, but what I did want to do is talk about the impact to Guam, and what do we think and what do we see? As we interview some of the interns, the graduates from UOG, many of them, of course, because they're only getting the accounting degree, they don't have 150 hours. They have 120 or a little more. And, we do interview them. We ask them, okay, how do you plan on getting the 150? Do you want to sit for the exam? And so, it's not really clear for most of them how they're going to do that yet. But there are some that actually have 150. But those are the ones who started off in another major and then switched.
Right, most of them. Yeah.
Most of them, yes. So they have that. Or there are some that actually deliberately spent 5 years at UOG just so they can get 150 hours, but not have, a master's degree, just have extra
Right.
courses.
Some of them have double majored, I think, in like HR and accounting, things like
Yeah.
that.
So this
Yeah.
new program that they're trying to look into, this professional licensure task force, where they have this alternative, what do we want? What do we expect? And what's the reality for Guam? And something we should start, thinking about how we want to address this from Guam. I mean, it could work well for the other states, but let's take a look at Guam because we only have the
Yeah.
university.
So my concern about the university at this point is that whole test that is required to get into the School of Accountancy. I know that the board has discussed this and brought it up to Dr. Jones, but we just recently lost like 4 accounting ones in like the last 3 or 4 months. And the number of graduates that are coming out of the university aren't that. And you can't, if you're not, my understanding, and maybe I understood it incorrectly, but my understanding is you can't even take an accounting class if you don't. So like if you're a finance major and you wanna apply for an accounting position in the government, you need a minimum number of accounting classes, but
Yeah,
you won't even allow you to take a class because you didn't pass that, entrance exam. And all that's going to do, I think, is force people to go take
elsewhere.
online, courses from somewhere else, or change their majors. But I don't know, how, what the point is of all that. If it's not relevant.
You're preaching to the choir. I've been arguing
Yeah.
about that test for about 7 years now. So,
Right.
and I can't seem to get it to change because there's one impediment that won't change it.
That's a good point, Tolling. So yeah, I mean, every business major must take principles A and B. So I guess that's the minimum, but you're right. They can't take the next course, any other course, accounting course, unless they pass that exam.
And that's something I fully do not understand, why anybody wouldn't be allowed to take a course like that if they wanted to, even if it's not part of their major. I could understand it if we had every accounting class full to the brim where there's no room, but we don't. So why you wouldn't allow somebody to take an accounting course they wanted to take, whether they're an accounting major or not, is totally beyond me.
Hey,
And
John, this was an issue that was brought up during our dinner, sort of briefly, but it was mentioned to the dean and to the president. It was brought to their attention, and they seemed, from what I could tell, somewhat sympathetic. But I guess we'll see how it goes.
Well, Annette was sympathetic too, but after 5 years, never made any progress with changing it.
Yeah, they seem sympathetic, but it didn't sound like they were going to change it, or at least said they were looking into changing it.
Yeah, but they were questioning the value as a screening tool. But
well, I
we'll
can tell
see
you
where it goes.
I can tell you from personal experience, I took that exam, John took it, and that exam basically has maybe 30% to do with what you do in accounting today. The rest of it is just pure crap. And it's not even organized well.
We passed though, just for the record, we both passed.
Yeah, we did, but only because we've got the experience we've got. Some of the questions are so ambiguous, it's pitiful, and some of them didn't even relate to the topic that it was headed with. just total asininity if you ask me, but I'm not an academic person, obviously. What do I know about academics?
I think you have to be an
No,
academic.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to make, do a formal request to the president and copy the Board of Regents. But, at
Well,
some point they need to, if, are we just, I don't know.
well, what I was led to suppose was that if we get another one or two accounting professors, so that we don't have a 50% majority and a 50% minority all the time, then maybe we could make some progress.
Yeah.
But until that happens, I don't think anything's going to happen.
Well, I think there should be a new professor for this coming fall, right? So that would make 3. So let's see how that goes.
Hope so. I would definitely hope so.
But you're right, Tolling.
But,
we need more students. I think this spring semester, I believe there might be 12 or 13 graduates from accounting. And this is supposed to be, of course, the semester with the most graduates. I think we might end up, we meaning EY, we might end up getting, 5 or 6 of them. But then, they typically only stay here a couple of years and then they leave. So
yeah,
we still need as many as possible, right?
well, we train them and they go. The same with us with the IT people. But one of the issues though with this thing, what John was saying about the states that are looking to go back to the 120, and a lot of this is driven because quote unquote pipeline issues, meaning
yeah,
the bottom line is the pipeline is shrinking because the incoming group of attending colleges, I think for the last year or so is about 1 million less than it was 4 or 5 years ago. And it's projected to be even less over the next cohort that's going to sign up is going to be even less probably. Yeah. So with that shrinking, people were trying to figure out how to get more people in the pipeline, which was to eliminate the 150. And frankly, there's not a lot of evidence that supports the 150 beyond the fact that it's been around for a long time and, some other, more esoteric issues. But the real issue with this task force thing right now and what the AICPA is doing with the earn and learn thing and the ELE, and then what NAS was trying to do with this licensure task force is coming up with things that are essentially doable by the firms outside of the auspices of an institution that's accredited in one way or another. So one of the real issues, and this came from my attendance at the executive director meeting, one of the real issues among all the executive directors was two-sided. One is, how do we know that the education they're getting is actually valid, and what determines any level of consistency among any of these programs, whether it be through the firms or some other way. And two, what if some states decide to say, okay, we will accept your education from this earn and learn program, but another state might not, and then you wind up with the different states accepting different things. And if I got licensed in a state that accepted my ELE stuff, and then if I try to transfer somewhere else, that state might say, I don't recognize those credits because it's ELE, it's not regular college course. So, you either have to take more stuff or just can't be licensed here. And then that feeds into the old substantial equivalency threat. So from my perspective, just as the executive director, the way this whole thing could affect us, meaning Guam and our CPAs, our local licensees, is relative to the substantial equivalency ability and mobility to go to the states and practice without any issues. That's kind of what we need to be sure we keep focused on, I think.
the substantial equivalency is the concern.
Hey, Dave,
Yeah.
does the ELE program provide you with 150 credits?
So
At the end
it's
of the
hard.
gig?
It's hard to say in detail, Sean, but the goal of the thing is that the firm hires a person in with the baccalaureate degree, and then they work on however many more hours they need to complete their 150 hours of education
Yeah,
while they're working, and the cost of that is somewhat sponsored or subsidized by the
right.
firm they're working for.
Yeah.
So
I guess my point
ultimately,
is it does lead to
yeah,
150 hours, just whether those 150 hours qualify. Are they
right,
out?
right, and the programs that are being piloted are by a couple of firms in the States. I think there's one in Tennessee. I'm not sure who it is. I forget. And they're associated with one of the universities there, one of the colleges or universities, who is going to provide, I guess, the content and ultimately provide the transcript, an accredited transcript with the college credit hours on it.
Yeah.
That's what I understand it to be at this point. So.
So if they're working with the university, then I would tend to think the jurisdictions, I mean, those hours would qualify, right? Those credits?
Well, I mean, the simple answer is yes, because it's on an accredited transcript, but there are some jurisdictions who get kind of sticky about what they accept and who they accept it from.
Uh-huh.
And the bigger issue, the discussion we had with the executive directors meeting was not necessarily the fact that they, about getting it on the transcript, but was the quality of what's being delivered to the, people in these different programs. And you could have people in two different firms potentially doing the same thing, but having a totally different quality value to it.
Yeah.
And what the concern among the executive directors was, how are we going to know what's really quality and what's not? Because there's a lot of even today, there's a lot of these institutions around that claim they're institutions, but they're basically just reselling credit for a course through some other provider, and it's a university somewhere.
Yeah.
And some of it's real and a lot of it's not. So
Dave, I mean, effectively, what would happen is that 30 additional hours is basically being transferred from an accredited university to some sort of combination of work, learning. So I can see the concerns about the quality.
Yeah, I mean, and that was the bigger issue with the executive directors, was how do we know what would be really acceptable versus what's not, because right now, I mean, we still get these people that come in and say, oh, I have this, I have that, and then you find out the institution is like, it works like the ACCA, where you sign up and you can get certified, but you can get certified by just quote unquote testing out or life experience, and they add that kind of stuff in there, and that's all over the place. We allow 6 hours of internship to be accepted. Even at this point, we can't tell you whether the internship was actually something relevant or not. There's no way to know. We just kind of hope it is, but that's why it's limited to 6 hours of credit. So that was the issue with the executive directors, was just, how do we know what we can really accept or what we should or shouldn't? Who's going to police the quality of this whole program? So, it's the kind of thing that once it gets unleashed, then you have a hard time putting it back in the bottle. So anyway, this thing is relative concept exposure, and they're asking, for people to comment on what they think they should be doing, or whether they should do something else or not do it at all. So I just wanted everybody to be aware. There's a few jurisdictions that are kind of keyed into this, and they have their differences. I think you'll hear a lot more about it at the NASBA regional meeting, relative to what some of the questions and concerns are.
Okay.
In a more defined format. So.
Okay, we'll find out more.
Anyway, it's one of these, just so we know.
Yeah, but just what I want just to remind everyone is to let's focus on Guam and how it impacts, I guess, our jurisdiction.
Yeah. My
What
biggest
we need
concern
to
is
increase the number of CPAs and accounting students.
yeah, and my biggest concern is making sure that our licensees can go to the States without issues being harassed.
Yes, that too.
Okay, the next one is a little bit more innovative program to ease attainment of CPA education requirements. This is the ELE program, recruiting students.
Oh, okay.
So this is a little more on the Experience, Learn, and Earn program.
ELE.
And it's designed as a flexible and affordable way for accounting graduates to complete the CPA licensure requirement and of an extra 30 credits. And then I didn't want to cover the rest of the details here. I just wanted it to be here for everybody's edification. But this one now is they've got the program. I guess it was Tulane is the school that they started with. They have graduates coming in, and supposedly the cost is $150 per credit hour. So they're looking for more firms, and they're recruiting more students. And I think at this point there's I think there's 3 firms or something like that have actually started this around the States. But this one is a person from Whipfley, I guess. Says the experiment was a success, and she's looking to expand the number of enrolled recruits. They have 5 right now, and their comment are that they appreciate the flexibility and affordability. What are they going to say? We don't like it. If you're paying me to work and earn and learn, I'm not going to say anything bad about it. So, but this is just the basics of what's going on with the ELE program. Everybody can have an idea, but I think there's some give and take here between NASBA and AICPA, and AICPA came up with the ELE, and NASBA's doing their thing with what can we put in the UAA as an alternative. And I think NASBA's trying to kind of maintain an independent stand, meaning we're not going to say any one way would be better than the other one, but we feel like we have to have an alternative to keep people keep states from passing individual laws that threaten mobility. I think that's basically what John was talking about. Okay, so anybody's interested, if you want me to know any more about it, let me know. I dig up a lot more bedtime reading if you're interested. Yeah, so the next item I had was the legal MOU that we finally got. It's taken me almost a year since we were told that we might be able to do this. But we do now have the ability, or I have the ability, to ask Joe McDonald about helping me with the rewrite of the rules and stuff, which I need some help with to kind of redefine some things. And so I put this basically just for the record, but I know you've all read about the AG's withdrawal of representing the government. So
yeah,
anyway, we got the approval from the AG's office to, under this MOA, to work with Joe McDonald is essentially the legal counsel representative of the AGA, the AG's office to work with us. And based on the approval of the AG himself. So this gives us go ahead and basically we can consult with Joe, and then whatever hours he spends with us, he has an agreed upon rate that he bills the AG's office, and they will just bill us for that time at the same rate. So it's as if we just hired him, but it's approved. So that gives me a little bit more.
So it's just hours incurred, just no retainer fee, right?
No, it's no retainer or anything else. So when he does some work for us, he'll bill us, and that's whatever we get.
Okay.
So just wanted that in here for the record. And then I don't know, John, if you wanted to say any more about your meeting. We had a meeting with these CPAAS people from Japan. We're trying to work out a deal with the University of Guam.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good meeting, good lunch too, a good dinner too as well. Sean joined us. It's very interesting. I didn't realize that. Well, first of all, they're similar to that other company, Avitus, in which it's a CPA school where they train, or actually they prepare candidates to sit for the US CPA exam. Well, initially they focus on the Japanese CPA exam. And I think what's happened is Japan is very restrictive. In other words, they only allow a certain number of people to pass their exam. I think it's, so what is it, Sean, 10%?
Yeah, that's what I, yeah, 10%.
10%. So, and it's a percentage. So you could score 90 in the CPA exam, the Japanese
and
CPA
still not
and still not pass if you're not better than 10%, right? You have to be 10%. So what they're looking at is expanding into the US CPA, which, because there's more opportunity. And I was sort of joking. I said, "What is the US CPA exam the consolation prize for those who don't make the 10%?" But
what'd they say?
no, he did. I guess he didn't understand my English. So the head, he didn't speak English that well, but maybe it went by him. But anyway, so they're focusing on the USCP exam. They see that there's a lot of potential to get more people. There's some requests, and we're seeing that already, right? Just even before this. And so they actually have an arrangement with the University of Guam where UOG, I guess, credits their courses so that it qualifies to sit for the exam. And I think that's what they're doing right now. Now, they also did mention that other states that are requiring the Social Security number now, that Guam now is more attractive, and they will probably be recommending their students, I guess their applicants for students to get licensed with us.
For licensure.
For license to get licensed. So it was good. It's very interesting. So one of the guys that was there who joined this what is it called? CPAAS
or some CPAS.
CPAS used to work for Avitus. So now he's with them.
Junri
Shindo,
for
yes.
Avitus. Yeah.
He remembered us. So
yeah.
I think it was very good. Sean, I don't know, did you have anything else you want to mention about them?
No, I think that covers it. They did indicate that they're interested in expanding to other countries, so they're looking, beyond Japan.
Yes, that's right.
Similar, program.
Yeah, my understanding about what they said about the Japanese CPA exam was that it's kind of like our old exam. They only give it twice a year or once a year or something like that. They have about 10,000 people that take it, and the government decides how many new CPAs they need that year, and then they establish the cutoff percentage. And if you're above that percentage, then you get a license, and if you're not, you don't, no matter whether you actually pass the thing or not. So
Yeah.
they're trying to figure out, because most of their candidates are for the Japanese exam at this
Yes.
point. They're trying to figure out what to do with the 90% that don't pass or don't get approved for licensure in Japan.
Yeah.
So they figured, well, maybe we should put them onto the US CPA, and if they can pass our exam, then they can actually get a license. So,
Yeah.
you
So,
know,
they did say that there's three most prestigious what is it, professions in Japan. One is the doctors,
yeah,
lawyers,
yeah,
and accountants, the
and-
CPAs.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
good to
So,
hear.
yeah, but they've got that whole cadre of candidates that they've prepared.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of them probably actually pass the thing, but they just don't get a license because they're not in the top 10%, so, or whatever.
Yeah. Well,
And he said the percent's not actually 10%. It's whatever the government decides based
Yeah.
on how many they need.
but these guys, CPAs, they're boasting that their program passes the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the Japanese exam. Yeah.
For the Japanese exam, yes.
John, that should
So,
help with the pipeline issue.
yeah, I mean,
If they come here, yeah. If they can move
well,
to Japan, move to
he,
Guam on work.
he did mention when we were talking about the fact that they would be interested in helping Guam companies recruit these Japanese
Well,
CPAs
I think,
if they pass the US exam. So,
yeah, Jenny's on the call, right? Jenny, I know Deloitte had some program. I thought they were bringing in people from Japan, Deloitte Japan,
I
and
think that
staying.
was more from a client service perspective, but they weren't trying to license them as US CPAs. It was more of just being able to service the Japanese clients.
So they were, but these were, I guess, employees from Deloitte Japan or Tomatsu that were, I guess, temporarily in Guam servicing clients.
Right, right. The intention
Okay.
was really more about just so they have a seamless experience, a service experience. That's it.
So they were just coming here just to get some experience and move back. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
okay. Anyway, we're open to anything that provides more CPAs for Guam. So,
Yes.
so we'll see how it goes. There's no more questions about that. The last thing I have is the financials, and I'm happy to report that I finally actually got the real numbers for January and February,
Okay.
and so I have a year to date here. So
Half year.
from a year to date standpoint, a half a year, we're at 310 in revenues. So we're definitely going to exceed our 607,000 budget, because we're going to see our 60,000 in individual license fees go up at least 100,000 or so.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sure. So I'm feeling like we're going to have at least a $50,000 to $100,000 surplus, if not more.
Dave, sorry, that you're saying the individual licensing fees only year to date is 60,000, but the last 3 years we were 300. So we got to expect at least 250.
Correct, because it all comes in between April and June.
Yeah. Okay.
So the girls will be working overtime again this year. So yeah, so that's coming, and our expenses are just standard. There's no major expense to the licensing other than the postage at this point. So I know we're going to have at least enough surplus to make our contribution, at least 100, maybe 200,000 to the endowment fund for the year. So we should be good there. We don't have any issues with our expenses. I am surprised, though. I have to show you the application processing that we have here, and basically we're looking at the new exam started in January of 2024. So this is all of these people, all of these applicants are now taking the exam and the new exam in the first quarter. these applicants between January and February and March are taking, you know, probably, well, there's a 6-month timeline on the notice to schedule. So anybody who's scheduled signed up as an applicant between January, February, and March has all the way out to September, essentially. I'm still surprised that I'm seeing the 19,000 in February and March, because I thought, well, if we had, and this is dollars, by the way, so we had 744, 690, 773, and then the same thing for the sections with the 572, 504, 527. But I'm surprised that we're still seeing this level of applications coming in, considering that people who took their exams in January haven't gotten any scores yet. So the people that tested in January probably won't get a score until April. So, and the way the setup works at this point, you can't sign up for another section or the same section. I guess I should say the same section until you get the grade for it. So
Yeah.
if any of the people from January are actually applying in February or March, they're applying for different sections. But I'm surprised it's holding up as well as it has at this point. So in terms
You
of
see a decrease.
revenue dollars, we're from 20,000 down to 19.6 down to 19.1. So we're only down about $1,000 or so dollars. So I'm just surprised that it's holding up that well. April, May, and June will tell us a lot more. And then I'm hoping that by the time September rolls around, most of the score vetting will have been done. So we should get back to a more normal, it won't be as fast, but a more normal release date, and then back to a standard, probably a standard level of applications. But at this point, I would have expected it to be less than it is. So if we still hold out through April or May, we're doing pretty good.
So Dave, all of the new licensees qualified under the old exam format.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the people that we just approved licenses for actually were past the old exam. Yeah.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, if you really look at the detail of the new licensees, a lot of them passed the exam a year ago, 2 years ago, some 3 years ago, and they were waiting to get the rest of their education or their experience before they actually applied for licensure. So. But I'm just kind of leery of what's going to happen with the new applicants for the new exam in the next quarter until we get some feedback. The AICPA did say in the regional meeting that I attended in Dallas that they were getting a better run rate in terms of the new exam sections than they thought they would get. So hopefully their score holes will be a little less than they planned, but at this point they didn't want to say it would be. So it seems to be going okay in that sense, and the volume of the new exam is holding up higher than everybody thought it would at this point. So I think we're okay in that regard.
Dave, is there any trend in terms of the the discipline? Is there a discipline that seems to be more popular than the other ones, or how is that turning out?
Well, I asked about that, but they wouldn't say.
Yeah.
They didn't want to say anything about it at this point. They said they had some numbers, but they're not ready to actually talk about it yet. So,
I see.
But apparently the actual performance of the exam and the new exam and the whole, because it's an entire rewrite of the system. Apparently it's holding up pretty good. Said they for the first 3 months they had a few glitches here and there, but by and large not near as much, as many issues as they expected to have. So it's getting there, and for us, we're still holding up with the applications. So just gonna, keep praying that it stays up there, and we'll be fine. So, much better off than we thought we might be. Okay. Anybody have any other questions?
No, looks good.
We're doing okay. I'm thinking we could at least contribute maybe the 200,000 to the fund this year if we wanted to. Okay. That's all I have. The announcement just came out yesterday, John, about the regional meeting, the end of June
Oh,
in
okay.
Omaha. So I'll make your scholarship request, and
Okay.
if anybody else is interested in going, let me know, and I can make a request for a scholarship for you.
Nobody else wants to go to Omaha?
Go to Omaha and eat steak.
Dave,
Yeah,
are you
yeah.
attending that too as well? Are you going to try?
I'm planning to.
Okay.
I'm hoping to be back to Guam on June the 6th, and then attend that meeting. I think it's June the 25th or 27th, something like that. It's the very last week of June. So probably
Okay.
just go to that and come back. So it wouldn't be an issue. But yeah, I'm attending the AICPA spring council meeting towards the end of May in Orlando. So I'll see what the AICPA has to say about their progress with their ELE, et cetera, and their pipeline issues, and just have some information from that before I get back. But at this point, I have no complaints. Surgery went well, and my shoulder's healed up. I have no pain. I'm just doing the therapy. Trying not to eat too much in the meantime. I don't get the same level of exercise here that I get at home with the 3 dogs.
Okay. Hope you get improve faster, more speedy recovery.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm fine. So I'm just anxious to be home, actually. Okay.
Okay. So nothing else. Can I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Move to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, Francis. Second by Tolling.
Okay.
Thank you. So meeting adjourned.
Okay, everybody. We'll shoot for the May meeting as regular, but we'll do the virtual thing again.
Okay.
Unless something comes up, let me know.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Safe travels. Bye.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks a lot, everybody. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye now. Bye now.